I'm Jaime.
Great to meet you, Jaime. I have no idea who it is, which is really awkward. And being from a small town, I'm definitely not up to date with pop culture.
It's always a little awkward because I never want to offend my clients by not knowing who they are.
This is so beautiful.
There's people up there that I'm sure are going to come up. But I'm actually really interested, instead of saying anything about it, I want to see what he has to say.
Okay. So before I came here, there was actually 2 people that were popping in quite heavily, and these are actually grandparent figures. And then I'm brought, okay, let me see. I'm seeing white. Give me 1 sec. Initially, as I'm connecting, there's some form of a connection to, I'm looking at like the South is basically the way that we kind of word this. There's a heavy pull there. What's interesting is that they both actually have this affiliation with that place. Don't know if we're looking at like one of the Carolinas or Louisiana, but we're looking at some form of a connection in that area. So
I'm from North Carolina.
Okay, so that would be on, I think, father's side. Would that be correct to your knowledge?
Yes.
The woman was much more talkative than the man, in that when she was coming through, she was very straight to the point, very assertive, in an adorable way, but very to the point with me. I am brought to there. Now, is there Mary on that side?
Jaime Pressly, my grandmother.
Yeah, she's very straightforward with me, and she's adorable.
A little too straightforward.
She's adorable.
I wouldn't use adorable. I'm glad you are.
She's very, very to the point, and I love her.
He brought up things that, and people, that I was dead on with names and places.
Now, there's some reference to, within the family, there's actually someone who would be involved in clothes, but it's like to a weird extent. It's like I'm seeing a washboard, if you're familiar with what that is, where people like wash clothes. I don't know what that means, but she's throwing
Granddaddy Pressly owned Pressly's Cleaners.
So that's where the connection
We were the #1 dry cleaning business in the little town we're from.
Wow, that's awesome. There's also a reference to earlier on him seeing a White House with columns.
That's Grandmom and Granddaddy Pressly's house.
Okay. During a reading, I get really random pieces of information that come through that I have to make fit. I'm trying to figure this out. I didn't just deliver what's meant to come through. I think when your grandmother comes through, there's aspects there where I think she got to see that you had the opportunity to move and live your life and have that experience and be able to kind of go through that. And I think part of her might have been a little envious.
She was, very much so.
And she blames that in some part for being what she feels might have created a little bit of friction, and that she doesn't feel like she was fair about it.
Hearing about Grandmother Pressly, I feel, a lot better. I think anybody who ever gets any kind of confirmation that everything's okay for whatever it is, it makes you feel much lighter.
This is gonna sound a little strange. I don't know if I want to bring this person through, but there's someone else that's popping in. We have a younger woman who's stepping forward who feels like she passed away too soon. And when she's coming through, she's making my lungs hurt quite a bit. And mentally, this feels strange. Physically, this feels strange. She's blaming an outside influence and saying that she was in a very manipulative situation where I actually feel like an outside person was detrimental in influencing a lot of her actions or inactions in certain areas. There is reference to a B initial. B. Put this. She would have been very, well, okay, she's giving me more, so I have to kind of, do you mind if I go with it?
Go for it.
I just saw Brittany Spears, so that's usually reference to Brittany, the name Brittany.
Brittany Murphy. Oh my God.
Who would that be?
She's an actress that passed away.
Okay.
Not that long ago. She was very sick. Oh my God, yeah, she was very sick.
Okay.
Had some kind of flu or pneumonia.
Right.
And I had seen her very briefly.
Because she's very direct in coming through. She's basically apologizing because she feels like the relationship ended. She's not coming through necessarily for you as much as she's referencing to you. She has messages for other people. She's using you kind of as the way to do that.
Oh my God.
Sometimes that does happen where people will pop in.
The man that she married, he OD'd. When she started seeing him, he manipulated her and was more of a Svengali than anything. I think maybe because I was one of the few in the spotlight that actually commented.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Once Jaime validated who Brittany was, Brittany's energy actually went away and allowed for Jaime's loved ones to come through much more clearly. Okay, I'm gonna try to connect with what was going on here. we obviously have your grandfather, but there's also another man that's coming through from a fatherly perspective. He actually brings me to the last 2 years of life, where we actually see a little bit of a fluctuation in health. I mean, this is the type of man that did not love doctors.
No, he did not.
It's like, I don't feel like I'm gonna rush to the hospital, because I feel like if I go to the hospital, I'm gonna get bad news, and it's just not gonna go well.
He hated the doctor.
Hated the doctors. And it looks like he had specified that he didn't, if he was going to die, it's like, don't take me to the hospital. Like, I don't want to die in the hospital. So when he finally did go, I mean, it truly looks, based on what I can feel, like this. I mean, everything just kind of shut down at once. I don't think he had a say in it. I don't think he had a choice. I don't doubt he was trying to hold on. And it's interesting because I think you brought a different dynamic that your family might not have. And it kind of looks like you're the main one who didn't have the closure.
His name's Rod. He was a father figure to me for about 18 years. He was sick.
Right.
And one night when I was working on my old show, I got a call. He got on the phone. He started crying, and so did I. And he said, I think it's time. And I went into my boss's office, and he said, you can go now if you really feel like you need to, but if you can wait 2 days, obviously that would be better, but if you need to go, go. I felt responsible and ended up staying the 2 days, and he died the very next day. And to this day, I've always wondered, or felt bad that I didn't just leave. We knew he was gonna go. I guess I selfishly just wanted to be there with him.
Understandably.
So I just, I've always felt bad about not getting there in time.
But he definitely is making a connection, but more so that he's perfectly fine. He's jumping up and down and referencing to, and he's hilarious. He's really funny.
He is.
He really is. The last interaction that you both actually had, he feels there was closure. That's kind of the weird thing with this, is that you don't, but he does, in the way that comes across. It's like he feels like he said everything he needed to say.
We went fishing 2 months before I flew out to Colorado, and we said everything.
Awesome.
When he took me to the airport, he got out of the car.
Right.
Then he hugged me and said, I'll see you again. I'll see you again, kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It felt incredible to be able to give Jamie the closure that she was so badly needing. Rod had complete closure from his perspective and wanted it to be known that he wanted her to have the same closure as well. And his love for you will always be there. That'll never die. This reading really showed why I do what I do every single day. The messages of closure, the insight, and the release that comes from these sessions. And that felt amazing.